welcome to Sunday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic, where today we're going to be taking a look at some pencil puzzles. And this is in response to an initiative that's recently started up on the Discord server, where every day a brand new pencil puzzle is published by one of the world's great constructors of these things. People like Tirganus, Freddie Hand, Jovial, Shy, Eric Fox, and I'm probably missing out the names of 2 or 3 other excellent constructors. And I love these. They're just little vignettes, really. They only take a few minutes at a time. And they're showcasing lots and lots of different styles of these puzzles. And I wasn't going to put this video on the main channel, but I did one of these videos for Patreon about a week ago. And the response to that has been such that I'm convinced a wider audience will enjoy this. So that's what I'm going to do today. My plan is to work through a few of these. I'll do them as quickly as I can, and then once I've finished the puzzle I'll go back and sort of explain what I was thinking about. Now I will tell you that some of these puzzles I've never seen before. This one, for example, Yosenabe, never done this before ever, so I'm not going to be showcasing any sort of learned experience here, which might be a bit embarrassing for me, but never mind, I'm going to enjoy it anyway. I've been looking forward to making this video. And yeah, do I have anything else to tell you? I don't think so. So let's just get straight on with this and see what's what. This puzzle's by Freddie Hand, brilliant young solver from the UK, one of the world's fastest solvers already, and Freddie is very young. And yeah, it's a puzzle called Yosenabe, and we can read the rules. Look, here we go. So, move some circles so that every grey region contains at least one circle. Each circle must end up inside a grey region. A circle may move only in one straight line vertically or horizontally. Circles' paths may not cross each other. Other circles may not cross each other. Other circles or other circles' starting points. If a grey region contains a clue, it represents the sum of the numbers in the circles which end up in that region. And then it tells us this is a sliding puzzle of some sort, and you can see to be good at this puzzle we've got to finish it in 2 minutes to be a speedy sloth. To be a quick crab, 5 minutes. That's probably more realistic given that I've never seen one of these before. But if we finish it at all, we're called a sliding sanderling. So this is very much in the spirit of the genuinely approachable SUDOKU puzzles that Mark's been showcasing in videos every few days for the last few months, and that they are of course available on the Discord server as well. But by the way, the channel you want, if you want to try the pencil puzzles, is called Daily Pencil Puzzle Discussion. And you'll see literally a new puzzle every single day. And I should also say that before I kick off on this one, I might get interrupted today, which is another good reason for doing this video. If I get interrupted in the middle of a puzzle, I can just bin the puzzle basically, without having to bin a 45-minute Sudoku or something. So apologies for that, but sometimes life gets in the way of puzzling, would you believe it? Now, the other great thing about these pencil puzzles is there's always an example, and on puzzles you've never seen before, like Yosenabe, that's good. So we can look at the right hand side here, and this is an actual small puzzle, look, and this is how we would solve that puzzle. So I can see that, right, this region here has ended up with a 5 sliding into it. That one down there didn't have a clue. That one has a 2 sliding into it. Oh, and this 3 at the top, look, has a 1 sliding into it and a 2 sliding into it. 1 plus 2 equaling 3, a knowledge bomb from Cracking the Cryptic and from Freddie, no less. Oh, and by the way, quick other thing. I mentioned this in the Patreon video I did. I'm not going to do this one. So if I did them sequentially, I think I did 8 in the Patreon video. The next puzzle after those 8 was this one, which is a puzzle. It's a Kropki puzzle, which is very similar to Sudoku. We do a lot of Kropki Sudoku, so I skipped that one out. That's the only reason I've moved straight on to Freddie's Yosenabe puzzle. And now I'm going to have a go at it. So do have a go yourselves. All these links will be under the video as usual. Let's see how this goes. Oh, it's all in the wrong place as well. Hang on, I have to move this across here. This shows we've never done this before. Let's go. Right, I've got to slide some things in without crossing things over. So 12s have to end up. There's a 12 here. How do you do this? Is anything... Oh dear. I keep wanting to slide... I wanted to slide this one 7. I'm thinking I can't slide it 7. Oh no. How do you do this? Oh, okay, that 3... I think that 3 can only go into that grey region. So the 12 needs 9 more. There's no 9s in the grid, so how else? 6 and 3 is how we're going to have to do that. So that 3 I think's got to end up in here. One of these 6s comes down into this 12. This 7 now must go that way though, and it can't go more than that, or it wouldn't make this 12 work. So we've got to slide that down. That's got to go up. Does it go? Oh no, that one could come across. Oh dear. Alright, I've got to get 6 into this. So if I put that 6 down, there's no restriction. If I put that 6 down, that 6 has to go. Okay, that doesn't come down, so that must come down. Now I need to get 12 into this, and I think I can only do it with 7 and 5. Might be wrong, that's what I'm seeing. That 6 comes across, that goes up. This looks like it's 4 and 8 now. Can we make that 7 and 5? No, we could make it 12, but then where would the 8 go? Nowhere. Okay, so that must do that. This 7 must come down here. The 5 goes across, the 12 goes here. Okay, 2 minutes. So not a terrible performance, but you could see I was completely floundering around there. Oh, look, I've just noticed. That's really beautiful. Freddie's written Yose or something in the grid here. And it's called a Yosenabe play it. So it's a Yosenabe puzzle. That's very clever, isn't it? Let's go back to the start, though. Let's reload the tab and just have a think about whether or not there's a quicker way of doing these puzzles. So my method, which I think was very inefficient, was basically to keep looking at the grid until I eventually spotted that this 3 can't hit a grey region apart from this 12 region. And that sort of gave me a bit of a start, because then I needed 9 more in the 12 region, and the only way I could see of doing that was with a 3 and one of these 6s. I'm not seeing a better way of approaching this. I mean, there are certain geometric constraints, like this 7 I realised couldn't just slide across here, because this 12 would then not be reachable. But yeah, that's quite an interesting puzzle actually. I enjoyed that. So let's go back to, okay, interruption number 1. But that's fine. I'd finished the puzzle, so we didn't really have a problem. But I think probably that's going to happen more than once. So apologies for that. Now this puzzle, I've just noticed, is called Gems and Stones. And I have never heard of a Gems and Stones puzzle. It's by Eric Fox this time. So Eric is another wonderful constructor. And we'll read the rules. We have got: place circles into some cells of the grid, some white and some black, such that each row and column contains exactly 1 black circle. A cell may contain at most 1 circle. A clue outside the grid indicates the number of circles in the corresponding row or column, up to and including its black circle from the direction of the clue. Tips. Okay, use only the first 2 types of circle available in Pemper Plus for the answer check to work, and shading will not affect the answer check and can be used for additional notation. And we've got 1:45 to do a speedy sloth, 5 to do a quick crab, and solve in any amount of time for a cave-dwelling oil bird of all things. Now we're going to have to study this example here. So what is going on? We have to put a black square in every row. Yeah, so if you look at the 3 clue at the start of row 1, that's saying it sees 3 stones or 3 circles, including the black one, or up until it gets to the black one, including the black one it sees. So the 1 here, the 1s are probably where you start with this sort of puzzle, because that must indicate there's nothing before the black circle in the row or column that the 1 appears in. So anyway, let's get on with it. Let's have a go. Click the link. Oh no, that's in the way. Hang on a minute. Oh, I can actually just pull that across. I hope this is in the right position. I'll move it across a bit more so that it's centered. I'll reset the timer because I've just been messing about. Let's have a look. We have got a 6 clue. Ah, well that must be a black square. Oh, how do I do black squares? You can see, I think if you wanted to get quick at these, you'd need to, oh dear, you need to work on the interface, or I'd need to work on the interface a bit. So I think that must look like that. That must have one beneath it for that 2 clue to be correct. This 1 clue must be a black stone immediately. The 2 clue up here is now finished. So all of these are nothing, but I don't really know how to notate that. Oh, maybe I meant to shade, it said. Surface. I'll use green. Let's put those in green and go back to shape. Right, the bottom row has a string of 2s in it. And these are all white. So none of these can be black. So, oh goodness, I need surface again. I think all of those are empty. And then the black square is the first thing that's seen after the white squares in each of these directions. The 4 clue is forced now. Okay, the 4 must go here with white cells above it. The 3 clue looks very... Well, the black square must be in one of those 2 positions. If the black square is here, the 2 needs a white one here. And all of these would be empty. We don't have many clues on the right-hand side of the grid, do we? Right. I know what we can do. All of these now have to be empty, don't they? Not sure about that one, though. But these 3 definitely have to be empty. Right, now there's sort of an X-wing on black squares. I'll explain this afterwards, but I can see that this square now has to be black. Which isn't actually very... Oh, it is useful with the 3 clue. That's really clever. So that's forced. Now I can get a white square here. Now I know where the other black square goes. Have I finished this? Not at all. I must have to put... I'm going to do more surface. You can see I'm absolutely hopeless at this. I can see where the white squares now go. Okay, so those 2 become white, and it says I've done it, which I didn't realise. But let's come back to this and stare. It's a beautiful puzzle, actually. Very interesting. So, what I appreciated, which was probably the complicated part of this, was that this 2 and this 2... let's see if I can unwind, actually. I can. Okay. So once I got these 3 squares as having to be nothing, and that's because that's a combination of this black cell here, which we got, and these 2 clues in columns 3, 4 and 5. If there'd been a white stone in any of these positions, then these clues would have been wrong, because the next clue they're allowed to count is the black clue in their column. So these turned green, and now look at this 2 and this 2. That's telling us that it's not possible for the black stone to go here or here. So the black stones are sort of an X-wing. They're in that pattern in column 3 and column 5. And therefore, we couldn't have a black stone in either of those 2 positions. It's very similar to Sudoku logic. That forced the black stone here, and eventually then the puzzle finished. Because, yeah, the 3 clue's really beautiful then, because you can't put the... You know that the black stone here must be in one of those 2 positions, and it now can't be here. So I really like that. That was very elegant, Eric. And let's go back to Discord again. Let's go back over here, go to the next one. I've not got interrupted yet. We've got a shy puzzle. That is a treat. An acre. Oh, I think I've maybe done 1 acre puzzle in my life, and it was some months ago. So this is going to be another dreadful one, I'm afraid. The quickest among you can squeeze below 1:45 to get the speedy sloth, 5:45 to get the quick quab, an interesting spelling of crab, and a bashful barn owl is available. That's probably what we're going to get. So what are the rules of Acre? Shade some cells so that all shaded cells form one orthogonally connected area. This is a very common constraint in these pencil puzzles, and it's so important. So let's just go back to the example immediately. You can see the black cells there, they're all orthogonally connected. There isn't an isolated black cell. Regions with numbers must contain the indicated amount of shaded cells. There may not exist a run of 4 or more consecutive shaded or unshaded cells horizontally or vertically anywhere in the grid. So I'll tell you what this reminds me of, and that's the Yosenabe puzzles that we've done recently on the channel in the Sudoku genre. Let's look at the example. So I see. So we put the number of black cells. So in this 3x3 here, we have 5 black cells. You can see there are 5 black cells in the answer. And I can see it's a bit like, it is like Yosenabe. You can put 3 black cells or 3 green cells in a run, horizontally or vertically, but not more. I've got no clue how this is going to go, but let's have a go at it. Bang. Oh, it's in the wrong place again. Let me move it. Something like that will have to do. I hope that's all right. And right, let's go. Zeros. Right click. Right click is the ubiquitous entry for putting nothing in. So dominoes with 2s in, they've just got to be filled in. Now, really good solvers wouldn't bother doing all the zeros. They would just be able to visualize that, but I like to do it slowly. Now, the black cells all connect, so that's got to come out. And it can't be run of 4. So, oh, look, this is lovely. Okay. Oh, and now that can't be a run of 4. That's got to come out. That's got to come out of its little region. This 2's got to come out. That's 4. Oh, I love this so far. This is gorgeous. Boom. Don't make a long run. That's got to come out. Don't make a long run. Don't make a long run. This has got to come down here. This is crazy. Oh, no, that's okay. I can still get out by coming down here. That can't be in. That must be in. That can't be in. That must be in. That would be a very long string. That must be not correct. The black must connect to its friends. Put greens around the outside of those. This has got to get out of that little region, so that's got to come there. This has still got to get out, so that's got to be green. This has still got to get out. Oh my goodness. Now look, it's got to wrap around the top, so those 2 have got to come out. That's got to come out. That forces that, forces that. Make sure it gets out, make sure it gets out. That fixes that. Make sure it gets out, make sure it gets out. Don't put that one in there. Okay, now I'm stuck, am I? Oh no, I'm not stuck. That's gorgeous. That fixes this. That's still got to connect. That's still got to connect. What's going on now in the end here? Oh, that's got to be black, and that fast can. Oh, we've done it. 204. I don't know what I was meant to get it done in. That is absolutely beautiful, though. That's the first Acre puzzle that's ever actually really chimed with me. Admittedly, I've maybe done 1 or 2 before, months ago. But that was so clever. Can we just go back to the start? So let me reload the tab. And let's just talk about what I was doing. So all I did at the start was very straightforward. We just put things in. But let's do the start bit again, and then just admire what Shai has done with this puzzle. Shai is an absolutely brilliant constructor. So first thing I noticed was the black cells have to connect, so that's got to come out. Now we can't have a run of 4 black cells, so that's got to be green, which immediately means you can't have a run of 4 unshaded cells, so that's got to be shaded, and that's got to be unshaded. And now we've got all sorts of connectivity problems in column 1. This has got to come out, this has got to come out, and this has got to come out, but that's got some optionality. Now the 2 here is also bounded in, so it's got to come out. And look, this starts to just create runs of 3 we mustn't extend. So those 2 get greened, and now this U, that's what is it, a septomino or something, it hasn't connected to its friends, so it has to force downwards, which forces this pattern. It's still not connecting to its friends, force downwards again, and you can just continue like this. And it all just flows. It literally does. It just flows. All of that bottom piece is just done. Don't make a run of too many greens. That's got to connect. I think I didn't do it in this order, but you can see that I could have done if I'd been on the ball. That's got to come out. This has got to connect to its friends. That's got to do that. This has got to get out. This has now got to get out. Don't let it over connect. It's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous. You could get quite quick at these, I think, if you practice them. That's got to get out. That's got to come out. Oh, and this is roughly where I got to before. Yeah, this run of 3 here is very important, because that forces this black cell, that, because this has to connect. And what do we do next? How do we finish this off? Oh, we've got a run of 4 blacks potentially there. So that's forced. This has to connect, so it has to come over the top. And that square would be too many. So we've done it. I've done that twice now. But it's worth it, isn't it? It's worth it. It's too good not to do twice. Loved that one. And yeah, I didn't get a speedy sloth. But I say, I'm not an expert in Acre, so sorry about that. Oh, a jovial puzzle now. Ah, the first one I've actually done before. Shaka Shaka. I know this one. This used to appear on Nickley. So I should be better at this one. So it's quite a complicated rule to get your head round. I remember when I first looked at Shaka Shaka puzzles, I was like, what? But let's work through it. We have got shade a right triangle in some empty cells, each of which occupies exactly half the cell it's in. Each unshaded area must be rectangular in shape. So you can see the answer here. It's a whole load of slanted rectangles and with some sort of square shapes as well. A number in a cell indicates how many of the up to 4 cells orthogonally adjacent to the clue contain triangles. So look at this 3 clue here. That's telling us that actually every cell that's orthogonally connected in the grid to this 3 contains a triangle. And you can see there's a triangle here, a triangle here, and a triangle here. It's a bit difficult to see because there's a triangle attached to this triangle that makes it look a bit like it's not a triangle. But it is true that there is a triangle. You'll see as we go through how this works. 2 minutes for a good speedy sloth, 4 minutes for a quick crab, and a triangular trumpeter is available if we get the puzzle done at all. So let's do this one. Is that centered? It's not too bad. Change it to English. Hopefully everyone can see that. Let's go. So I'll just go fast, or I won't be fast, but I'll go relatively quickly because I do know I have done these before, and then I'll talk through exactly what I'm doing. Once we finish, those 2 are done. That's done. That's got to turn. That's got to turn. We've got to leave rectangles, so all of those go in. That's got to do that. We can't interrupt other things. That does that. That does that. Can't see anything instant up there, so let's go on to the bottom. Those do that. That's finished. Whoopsie. Boom, boom. I do like this software. It's beautiful. Don't create nasty little things down there. Do that, do that. This is some sort of symmetrical thing going on in the middle, I think. I feel like I've done this logic on the other side of the grid. That's probably nonsense, but I do. Okay, don't interrupt triangles. Yeah, that feels very familiar. I think there's a theme going on with this one. Oh, I see. And then we're going to finish off down here. So there we go. We did that one. Now, what on earth was I doing? Let's restart that puzzle. And I'll talk about it slowly. Go back to English again. Doesn't seem to remember that. So this 2 is telling us we have to add 2 triangles to the orthogonally connected cells. Now, there are only 2 things, and we've got to leave rectangular unshaded spaces. So if we were, it won't even let me do it, but if I was to try and put the triangle anywhere other than here, I would be enclosing an area that was white and triangular rather than creating a rectangle. So this is forced. Then we need a rectangle. So this is, at the moment, this is an obtuse angle. There are no obtuse angles in rectangles. So obviously we have to close this off as a right angle. Now this 1 clue is just completed by this triangle. There's no more triangles around this clue. So I right click to create dots. And again, if this was a dot now, this is not a rectangular shape. Hopefully that is clear. So that this one definitely needs to have a triangle in it, and you can see any sort of triangle that is not here is going to leave a non-rectangular shape. So that's how I got this. It's nothing clever doing this. It's just instant. The more of these puzzles you do, the simpler they get. Now, this now. So we're at this point, and you can see we've got the starting, well, in fact we've defined exactly 2 edges of a rectangle here. And so this rectangle now cannot be any other shape. If you were to try and make the rectangle smaller, for example by introducing this triangle to create a square here, square being a sort of a form of rectangle, you can see you've broken the rectangle possibility on the left hand side here. There's no possibility now of this forming a rectangle, so you've got to leave this free and you've got to finish it off like that. And in doing that, and this puzzle propagates through the grid, or this pattern propagates, this 2 clue is now finished. So you have to do this, that, and now look, this can't extend into here anymore. It'll break the 2 clue if it does. So we've got the startings of a rectangle here, and this is an obtuse angle, so we have to close it off. So that's the pattern, and then you'll find that this meets up with that as we come round this side. It's the same logic again, look. So again, this now, if this extended, this line extended, you can't make this into a rectangle, because this is all white here, where the cursor's moving. And even if I try and close it off, it's clearly not a white rectangle. It's a sort of, I don't know, a flamingo head or something, or a swan head. It looks like a piece of origami, and that would be wrong. So that's how to do Shaka Shaka. Let's move on. How long's the video so far? I don't know how many puzzles I've done, not many. To Gannis now with a star battle. Oh, I love star battle. Okay, this is great. So how many? Right, so I mean, this is a puzzle we've done on the channel a lot because it's such a brilliant puzzle. I do not understand why this isn't in every newspaper every day, because it should be. Rules: place exactly as many stars as indicated above the puzzle, so it looks like it's a 2-star puzzle, in every row, column and region. For this particular puzzle, it's 2 stars per row, column and region. Stars cannot touch themselves orthogonally or diagonally. For solvers more experienced in Sudoku, this can be thought of as King's Move constraint. Yes, okay, can be. So you can see from the example, which is a 1-star puzzle, these stars that are placed never touch each other, even diagonally, and each one, there's 1 in column 1, 1 in column 2, 1 in column 3, 1 in column 4, 1 in column 5, the same for the rows, and there's exactly 1 in each region. So I know many of you will be familiar with this. Now, we don't want to get a syzygetic starling here, because that would be a bit of a fail, I would think. I would hope I'll be relatively close to 130, but let's see. Let's see, we might have to move it on the grid. Let's move it over here, and let's go. Okay, so that's got to be done like that. I'll go fast at the start, or at least fast for me, and then we'll see why I was doing what I was doing. That's now, whoops, that's now forced to be out. And oh, I see, that's got to be in. That's going to force those 2 stars. All of that gets forced. That forces 2 stars into this region. Down there we're getting a bit compact, aren't we? Now that must be in. That's not in. Need a 2nd star here. We've done the stars for this column. That can't be a star. I definitely know there's a star in one of those 2. Oh, I know where it is. It's got to be here. Okay, so we're just down to, there's got to be a star in one of those. Oh, I see, we've actually done this row, look. So there's 2 stars here, so there's no star here, which means there's a star here, there's a star here, that fixes a star there. There's no star here, there's a star there. Oh gosh, I was like, why isn't it telling me I've done it? But I have done it. 109, not great, but not too bad. And that was quite a methodical solve, actually, because you can see I've actually labelled all of the unstarred pieces as we went along. So let's go back and revisit it, and we'll think about the logic. So probably the best bit of advice I can give on Star Battle, there are 2 or 3 techniques to know about Star Battle, but I think the one that's most important is that in any, I don't know if I can do this, yeah I can, in any 2x2 region of a Star Battle, you can only ever put exactly 1 star. If you put a star here, you simply cannot put another star there without it touching. It's self-evidently obvious once you think about it, but that's incredibly important if you think about these little sort of Tetris shapes, because if you were going to put a star here, you instantly can't put any stars around it, and that's never going to work. So one way of thinking about that is in this little region here, this 3-cell region, there's a maximum of 1 star. But we know there's 2 stars in the Tetris shape, so there must be a star here. And once you put a star here, you can't put a star there, so the second star must be there. So these Tetris shapes are instantly forced. So that's what we did first. Let's just see what I did second. I can't remember what I did now. Let's go back here, here. So what did I do after that? I can't remember. I probably... Oh yes, I know what I did. I looked at this region that sort of starts in row 1, column 1. Now if you look carefully here, we've actually blanked out a lot of this region from being stars. We can't put 2 stars there, they'll touch each other. So this simply has to be a star. And once that's a star, look at this region next to it. There's only 2 cells left that can be stars. And that gives us a lot of real estate in the grid. In fact, there's some stuff there that I didn't spot, but I could have done. Now this region, the third region, this region that starts in sort of row 1, column, is that column 9? It is column 9. This now only has 2 places for stars. And again, always make sure, I do think it's worth penciling in where the stars can't go. That can't be a star now, so we know that's a star. And then, yeah, I used exactly this 2x2 trick on this box. You can see I've got 5 cells left that have to contain 2 stars. And I know I can only put 1 star in this 2x2. So instantly this becomes a star, etc. So not too bad and very enjoyable. Right, let's go back over here and get on with another one. Freddie hand puzzle again. What's this one? Tapper. Oh, I do know Tapper. Okay, that's great. So I am familiar with this one. Okay, yeah, Serkan Yürekli, the great puzzle constructor from Turkey, invented this. Let's read the rules. These rules can appear a little bit complicated the first time you read them, but it becomes very natural, Tapper, once you've done a few of them. So, shade some cells so that all shaded cells form one orthogonally connected area. Clues cannot be shaded, i.e. the cells with numbers in cannot be shaded, and represent the lengths of the blocks of consecutive shaded cells in the up to 8 cells surrounding the clue. No 2x2 region may be entirely shaded. So it's very similar to that earlier puzzle where we have to connect all the black cells together. This time there's a 2x2 constraint, so we mustn't have a 2x2 that contains all black cells. And if we look at the example here, you look at this 5 on the right, you can see it is surrounded by 5 shaded cells. This 2 is surrounded by 2 shaded cells, so it's counting the diagonals. Look at the 3, 1, 1 in the middle of the grid. Let's study this. So you can see in the 8 cells surrounding it, it's a bit like a nonogram, the way it works. There's a 1 dot 1 dot run of 3. So we can think of these a bit like pi cross or nonogram. You get used to this if you practice it. So to do well, we've got to get 1 minute 30. So let's see if we can do 1 minute 30. Although I'm going to have to move it around again before I even get to try it. Right, let's go. So 7 there. I can see that must be that. I'll go quickly again, or as quickly as I can. Don't make 2x2s. I've got a 3 there, so that's got to come out. That can't be the 1. So that must, I think, come all the way down. I might have miscounted that, but that felt like it was true to me. This has still got to come all the way around. 1's around there. That's therefore a dot. That's still got to come out. There's some real connectivity stuff going on at the bottom. That's finished. This is there's another 7 here. Good grief. Okay. I'm worried I've made an incorrect deduction already, but this must be a 3, that must be a 1, that's got to get out, that's got to be a 3, so that's got to do that, that's got to do that, this 4 can't now get over here, that's got to get out, okay, so that's forced, what's now next? We've now got something going on over here, that cell's always shaded. A 1 and a 4, so that must be the 1. That creates the 3, and this has got to have 4 around it, so all of those go in. This has got to get, I see, that's got to connect. So that's forced out, that's got to go in. This 2 is not done. And now we've just got to connect up, I think, like that. Yes. Okay, that was a really clever puzzle. So let's go back, because I was obviously going too quickly to fully explain what I was doing there, and I'll explain my thought process. So my thought process was 7 with you can't put a black cell in a numbered clue. So 7 is saying both of those were immediately forced. Then my attention turned to the 2 by 2 here, the 2-2, because this must be a 2 clue then, but it's actually only 1 at the moment. It's only 1 shaded cell, because this is effectively a dot. So that's forced, therefore there must be a dot here, and this is the only other clue clued by this 2-2, so that must be forced, and everything else is then dotted. To avoid a 3 by 3, avoid a 3 by 3. Then I looked at this 3-3 clue. This is a run of 3, so it must be dotted around it, and therefore we need another run of 3. This hasn't connected to its friends and must drop down. Now this is where there's a choice, not really a choice, but this could be part of the 1 clue. But if it is 1, it's isolated from its friends, so it's actually part of the 3. And how does it get out? Well, then I realised it had to drop down here, dot it. This must be the 1. That needs to escape. This still needs to escape. Then this 3 clue is important. It's a very naturally flowing puzzle, isn't it? This 3 clue is now forced to be that. That forces this down again. The 1 clue must have 2 1s separated by a dot. And this big strip down column 1 hasn't connected anywhere yet, so it's forced out here. This hasn't connected anywhere yet, so it's forced out to connect here. That forces the shape of the 4. Avoid a 2 by 2. Avoid a 2 by 2. This 2-2 is now forced. This must be the 3 surrounding the 1. That must be the 1 surrounding the 1-3 clue. That's got to become out there. That's forced. That's forced. And believe me, I mean, you might think I'm going at this relatively quickly. Go and look up Kennen. I think we did a video. We did a video maybe a couple of years ago where I showed Kennendo solving one of these at speed. This puzzle, I think, would take him 5 seconds. Something like that. I'm not joking. It's yeah, it's sobering, isn't it? It's sobering. Right, let's go back to this one. I don't want the video to be too long. Let's just have a quick flick forward. I'll see if there's any puzzles that I really want to do. What's that one? A Rassicilai or something? You see, some of these I don't know what they are. What's that one? That looks like Yagellin. I do know what Yagellin is, but the video is going to get very long if I go that far. We'll do one more, maybe 2 more, I think. I don't want the video to be too long. And I haven't got interrupted too often, so that's brilliant. Let's look at this one. This is by Eric Fox again. And we've got, it's called Numbered Rooms. Again, this is not a puzzle I'm familiar with, I'm afraid, so this could be a slow one. Place a number from 1 to 5 into each cell so that each row and column contains each number with no repeat. Oh, it's a bit like a Sudoku. A clue outside the grid represents what number appears in the xth cell in the corresponding row or column from the direction of the clue, where x is the first number seen in the corresponding row or column from the direction of the clue. Good grief. I've got 2:15, 5 minutes here. All silvers and a cute little pet parrot. Right, I'm going to look at the example because I'm not sure I understand that. So, oh right, look at the 4 here. That is telling us that the 4 from this direction appears in the 3rd cell because the digit next to it is a 3. Oh, this is horrific. This is going to be horribly difficult. Okay, so let's launch it and just see how we go. Oh, hang on, that's not... Is that in the right place for everybody? Maybe if I move it down a bit. I really hope you're able to see that. That might be too large. But anyway, let's have a go. We have got only 1s, 2s and 3s. How clever. So... Okay, I can see that 1 in the top row can't be in any of these positions because it would immediately contradict. It would be saying that in the first position there's a 3 and 1 and 3 are not equal. So the 1's over here must be in one of those 2 cells. Yeah, okay, and the same is true for 3. If these were 3, it would be saying the 3 was duplicated in the column. So that's actually a 1-3 pair. And back to Sudoku notation here. The 1 would work in its own position. If the 3... oh, yeah, okay, the 3 now doesn't work in this position. So hang on a minute. That's got to be a 1. That's got to be a 3. So these squares are 2, 4, and 5. Let's notate it. So that's telling us the 3s are in these 3 positions and these 3 positions. Oh, right, okay, but the same thing is true of 1 in column 5. If I put 1 next to a 2, it's implying that the 2 is on top of the 1, which can't exist, so that's got to be a 1. And it... Yeah, and it's, oh, this is so weird. If you put a 2 here, it's implying the 2 is simultaneously there. So the 2 in this column goes here. Right, okay. These are 3, 4, and 5. So the 2s are in a sort of a 3x3 bank there. The 3s in these... So the 3s are in those cells, in columns 3 and 4. The 2s are in these cells. So the 2, yeah, okay, so I see the 2, yeah, 2, oh right, this is the thing I've missed. 2 can never be signalled into its second column. That's so weird. 3, 3. I'll explain that in a minute. I'm sure most of you have already worked out what it was taking me ages to work out. So that's a 1-5 pair. So that's not now a 3. So that's telling us the 2 is now over there in this row. This, have we now finished it? It doesn't feel like it. I have to say there's now a 4 in one of those cells, signalling these 5s, sorry, these 1s here. So 2 in one of those. Oh no, the 3, we've already done the 3. That was signalling this. So this is 1, 2, and 4. So this square here is a 1 or a 4 because it can't be a 2. And what should we do next? I don't know. That square's a 4 or a 5. I can see that. And that square's a 4 or a 5. That doesn't seem to be the likely next point of... There's definitely a 3 in this one of those 2 squares, signalling a 2 in one of those 2 squares. These are a 1, 2, or a 4. Gosh, I feel hopeless at these, I have to say. Oh, I know what it is. It's this clue. That's telling me there's a 3 in the second position. So that's a 3. So that ceases to be a 3. And that's, oh, that simultaneously then tells me the 2 is here. I see. So it all sort of propagates through the grid. Ah! It's not the same as our software, so I don't know what I'm doing with this at all. I've got a 1, 4, 5 triple here. So this, oh, so that's a 2, 3 pair. That's good. 3, 2, 1, 4, 1, 5, 4, 5. So this is a 1, 2 pair. I can do that. Oh, I see. And then the signalling of the 1. This is a very cleverly constructed puzzle. It took me absolutely ages. Apologies. Yeah, I did not have a clue what was going on with that, I have to say. Let's clear the grid and go through it again slowly. So, what I did there was, I noticed quickly, or quickly for me, that some of these clues can't refer to their own number. So these 3 clues, which are signalling where the 3s go in these columns, you can't put a 3 in any of those positions because you'll repeat the 3 here. So the 3 has to be over there. And similarly, if you were to put a 1 in any of these positions, then you're signaling the 3 is on top of the 1 in the same cell, which is nonsense. That gets you that. This 1 clue then forces the 1 to be in the first position and gives you a 3 here. And then I think you have to think about the 2s and ask where the 2s go. Because again, you can't self-reference a 2 or a 1. Yeah, so 1s and 2s are both immediately ruled out of those squares. And if you were good at these and you'd done a few of them, you could have immediately done this. And then I could have immediately realised that this 3 clue is forced to be here. You could do this puzzle in like no time at all. I just didn't realise how to do it in any way that was efficient. I'm so sorry. That forces 4, 5 here. That forces 3 here. Now, the 2s now have to be in this little 2 by 2 in row 3 and 4. So then we can ask where the 2 goes in row 5. It's got to be there. And by placing the 2 here, you're interrupting the flow of the 3s, which forces the 5, forces the 4. That gives us the 1, 4, 5 pair here. This is a 2, 3 pair, forces the 3, the 2, the 1. Yeah, you could do this massively fast. Isn't it interesting how bad I was at this, and yet how I can sort of see how, with a little bit of practice, I would have been able to do it more quickly. Yeah, that's really interesting. Okay, so that was a total fail. How embarrassing. Let's do one more because I want to redeem myself. This puzzle's by Shy again. It's right, 145 for a speedy sloth, 545 for a quick crab. An exquisite Indian peafowl is also on the menu, and we have the following conditions. What is this puzzle called? Rasi Silai. And the rules are as follows. Within each region, thread a non-intersecting rope through the centres of all cells. No 2 cells in the grid contain endpoints of the no 2 cells in the grid containing endpoints of the ropes may touch each other, not even diagonally. Wow, that's an interesting rule set. Never done this puzzle before either, so I'm not going to redeem myself, am I? So this is saying I draw a line through the region. Yeah, okay. That's really interesting because basically that means that the circles in this puzzle operate a little bit like star battle clues. They cannot touch each other. Yeah, if you like imagine that grid was a star battle grid, the circles are not connected. Wow, so it's sort of a combination of loop drawing and star battle. This sounds fascinating. Let's have a go at it. That's not so bad in terms of its position, I think. Hopefully everyone can see that. Let's have a go. Right, so I don't know quite what the thing is. That must be a loop doing that. I better mark the circles. Probably right click. No, of course not. No, it's left click. So this now can't be. I'll try and go quickly, and then we can talk about that. Oh, that must do that. Talk about what I'm doing. If I manage to solve this with any sort of ability. Oh, that, yeah, okay, so that's all forced. That now. Oh, star battle is a problem here. Those can't be. So that must be, I think. I think that has to look like that. That could be wrong. That must do that because I can't touch thingies. That must do that. Star battle is your friend. Star battle is your friend here. That's now forced. This is really cool. This is a very interesting puzzle. I will say that for nothing. Now, how do I do that bit? Don't know. Ah, got stuck. Oh, look, there's another one we can put in here. That might be important because that forces that. Now, what's that doing? That can't be an edge, so that's got to connect. Ooh, okay. I've got to keep things apart here, so that can't be an end. This is like it's like star battle logic again. So this can't be an end. So you could have ends here and here. You must have an end in the top row, mustn't you? Yeah, that's the point. You must have an end in the top row. So now that becomes a corner and that becomes an end. I think that's correct. Now that must do that. Again, yeah, okay. I'm starting to see this a little better. That can't be an end now. So that must be an end. Oh no, that's not right. I was imagining this was a 2 by 3 rectangle, which it's not because we've already done that bit. Oh, this can't be an end. So this is not an end, so it must continue. This is not an end. Oh, that could be an end. No, that must be an end. That's the point I'm missing here. So again, if this can't be an end, if it turns down, that could be an end. Is there some sort of checkerboard thing about where ends can be? It probably is. That can't be an end now. This can't be an end. Yeah, okay, so all of that gets filled in. That can't be an end. Neither can that. So that's... Oh, this looks a bit daunting. So one of these is ends. That's not an end, so that must be an end. I think that's forced. That must be an end. That must be an end. That's now forced. That can't be an end. So this is really clever. Good grief. Now that can't be an end. Hey, I've done it. Wow, that took me ages. It took me ages because I was learning the logic as I was going along. But that's a fascinating puzzle. I've never done one of these before. Rassi Silai. It's quality. It's again shy, isn't it? Just absolute quality as a way of introducing yourself to that puzzle. That was beautiful. So let me, how do I delete? I can delete all. Yes, erase it all. And let's just think about... So there are certain things I think in this puzzle type that are given. Anything that is a snake-like section. So I could immediately have written endpoints into those 4 cells and drawn considerable line sections from each of these. Could immediately have done this. Didn't, but could have done. And then I think... Same thing there, actually. I've just so bad. So something like that. Now I was thinking about cells like this, which now I know can't contain an endpoint anymore. So if that's not an endpoint, but you have to complete a loop in the region, it must be a corner. And now you can see this would force this. Now this must therefore be a corner, which forces the shape of this. Now you can't actually put an endpoint in any of these 3 cells, because of the sort of star battle constraint, which forces 2 corners. And now you've got to be massively careful here, because remember the 2 by 2 rule, I couldn't put more than 1 corner into those 4 cells. And if I'd been quicker at realising this, I could have immediately done that, which creates a virtual corner here and does that. But I was slow to sort of appreciate how this all worked. And I remember this region being particularly recalcitrant. Now, the other thing I did notice as I'm solving is look at this rectangle here. Because of the star battle rule, you can never have endpoints in these 2 cells. So there must be an endpoint in one of these 2, and there must be an endpoint in one of these 2. Now, knowing that in the circle here immediately gives you this endpoint. And that actually forces the whole shape of that region, which again I hadn't appreciated, but I can sort of start to see now. Again, look, the top right region, so beautiful setting. The top right region of this has now been effectively reduced to one of these rectangles. So I can immediately say one of these has to be an end, so it must be that one, which forces the whole shape of that section. It's just gorgeous. The video's getting a bit long now, but I hope you'll forgive me for that. I think this is... I love doing these. I'd be very happy to do one of these videos every week if people enjoy them. We'll look at the views, we'll look at the reactions in the comments, and we'll take that on board in terms of whether you want to see more of this sort of thing. I really hope you do, because I had a lot of fun anyway. And we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.